Sorry about
Hey,
that. Hello. Okay, so the last thing we were discussing, you were talking about the daily break.
yep. And speaking of that, you're not more broke than me. I'm the brokest person. I'm the
Yeah,
brokest person
right.
in this life. I'm just kidding. But anyway, what I was saying. What was I saying? Damn, I
How
lost it
you
again.
you,
Hold on,
you
hold on.
guys going to be posting about
Oh,
the Kyle Rittenhouse case.
yeah. So when we covered that, every single meeting and every single conversation was how can we make this more objective? And a problem that we had, and I've had many people consulting me when I was beginning to make this company. I have a friend in Canada. Her name is Nicole, and she used to work with media, and she had a lot of experience. And we were talking, and I talked with many different people. And was like, how can we make media more objective? Like, what sort of things can we do? And one of the problems that came across was like, wait, how can we can't say that we are objective because everyone's clouded with a certain particular, viewpoint on something. You can't be 100% objective because then that's not really news. That's not really a story. So we kind of took that message out because that was the thing that we were going to put forward. Like, oh, we're objective news. This is real, and that's kind of in the same way, the same exact thing that news cycles do because they're saying this is the truth. This is the ultimate truth. So we pulled back on making that message explicit. Like this is objective news, and what we're going to do is you don't prove that you're objective by saying it. You
Yeah.
prove your objective by your actions, how you go about telling the story. Are you only telling one part? Like, how can we? So it's less focus on saying we're objective, and it's more focused on actually being objective, like looking into this particular evidence that you may be overlooking because you want to make Kyle Rittenhouse look more guilty than he already is. It's like is looking into something that maybe not a lot of whole people were looking like, for instance, and this is something that everyone should practice with, not just news. Like look into things. I made a video about this yesterday. Like talk with people that don't agree with you because that's how you actually learn new things. How are you ever going to learn something new if you don't step outside of your cocoon? If you don't ever step outside of your what's it called, your echo chamber? How are you ever going to learn anything new? You can't unless if you want to actually learn something new. Maybe you don't want to learn anything new because what you actually know is so weak and it's so uninformed and it's so blatantly obvious you don't know that any other information is just going to completely destroy your entire system. But then you're left with what? You're left with nothing. So I understand why people don't maybe they don't want to go listen to a particular person. I just I understand why some people only stay in their echo chamber because it's like no one likes having their structure for knowledge being destroyed. No one likes that. And who would voluntarily want to do that? But that's the only way. That's the only actual thing that you can. That's the only process you can do to learn something new. I'm reading this book called the History and Origins of Consciousness. It was written by Eric Neumann, and he was a student of the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. I don't know if anyone knows who that is. He's a really really famous psychologist. He actually founded like the new area of the psychoanalysis and psyche and talking with people. He actually involved like a whole new sector, and he went to consciousness. He went into the archetypes, and this is a really interesting guy. And he had this concept called circumambulation. I hope I'm not losing anyone here, but this is the actual process of going into the unknown. And so circumambulation is a process of it's a Buddhist actual ritual. This is when they walk around. It's a circumambulation. So the prefix of that word circum is when you circle around an object. It could be anything. It could be like a statue. It could be anything. And you actually go through the maze and you look and you go through it and you pay attention to yourself and you actually go through this maze and you find out where you're doing. You find out what's on the other side. You get a complete 360 analysis of what it is, and you come out on the other side knowing something different than what you knew before you came in. And that whole process is the actual representation of going into something unknown and coming out the other side having a more more to yourself. It's a process of going into the unknown and coming out with something that you didn't have before you went in there. And that's the only way that people can get something new, or turn an old habit, or learn something that maybe they, or work on something that they haven't, that they're overlooking. That's the only process that people can actually get, so they can know something new. If you only read things that you're interested in, well, that's a bad example. If you only read things that make you comfortable, if you only want to watch certain people that tell you what you want, in social media and internet, this thing, I'm a huge fan of internet. I'm not trying to shit on the internet here. Stop cussing, Kyle. I'm not trying to downplay the internet. It's a remarkable thing. Like, look, we're talking on here. Like, you're like a million miles away from me. This is a great invention at its root. But one thing the internet has done, it exacerbated the process of getting instant gratification of what you want.
Yeah.
These things, these algorithms, these technologies, Twitter, Instagram, all these all these social media feeds, they have one thing that they give you what you want to see.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that comes with a curse. It knows about what you like, what you view, by your Google search, the retargeting. That's what Facebook does. They retarget you. So if you search up, UGG boots, if you go on YouTube, guess what ads are going to come up? It's going to be your favorite artist advertising Uggs to you. And that's fucking scary as hell. Because your phone knows more about you than you know about yourself. And that's really, really scary once you start to think about that. And the positive side to that is that you get to see what you want. You get to get an ad that's something that you actually want. And the bad part of that is that you only see what you want. So it's a positive and a negative, and that's something that we have to really think about. And I don't want to make it sound like it's too bad. I don't want to make it sound like it's too good. It's something that's completely in the middle that we have to look at objectively. That's the only way. That's the only possible way that these things, the news, the social media, everything we love to enjoy, that's the only thing. That's the only process that we can do. That's the only way. That's the only conceptualization that we can do, so we can appreciate these things, is to be objective. And to be objective is really just to be conscious. Like, that's really what it is, just to be conscious of it. Like, are you only telling half of the story? Are you purposely leaving something out? Like, are you purposely not talking to this person because they're going to tell you something you don't want to hear?
Yeah.
Are you purposely only listening to this person? Like, what? Like, being objective is just being conscious. That's all it is. So we have to be conscious with this stuff. Like if you've seen too many ads, maybe that's an indication that I shop too much. If you're only seeing ads, about burgers and fries and like milkshakes, that's an indication to you. Be objective and be conscious. Like, wait, maybe I'm eating too many carbs. Maybe I'm having too much sugar. Like, it's just to be conscious of this stuff. Like, if you find yourself indication that you have deep distaste for something, if you're disgusted by it. So the disgust response, that response is like the shrinking of the face, and you're like, ew, like you just get it away. If you have that response, that's not good. If you hear someone talking, or if you see someone, you roll your eyes. There's actually a stat I learned from Jordan Peterson. If you see someone, like if your spouse or if your husband, if you see him and you roll your eyes, I think it was 50. You guys have a 50% chance of getting into divorce.
Oh, wow.
So disgust is a really bad indication. So if you find yourself, like, if you make that face, or if you feel it, just be conscious of it. That's an indication that you have regulated that thing, or that news cycle. You regulated this thing as rodent, parasite, filth. That's what it is to you. That's not good. So it's just good to be cognizant of all this stuff, because when you are, you really can't be brainwashed. It's easier not to be brainwashed, because that person's just telling you everything you want to hear. Like, that person's only showing you what you want to know. So it's just, you have to be cognizant of this stuff and be like, well, I read on this other thing that Kyle Rittenhouse was being chased by like 10 people. And I learned on this other news cycle that you're not showing me that this guy had a fucking skateboard in his hand and he was about to kill him. And I learned on this other show that you guys are purposely not showing me that the people said, we when we catch you, we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're not fooling me here because I'm conscious and I'm objective. And I looked at all the sources. So when you watch CNN and Don Lemon's going off on his stupid rant, you already know the facts, and you go in there you go in there with tools. You go in there with a shield. You're not gonna brainwash me. You're not gonna tell me you can't trick me. You can't fool someone that has knowledge. You can fool someone that has knowledge. You can't fool someone that has wisdom.
Wow. That was hella deep, bro. Okay. So let's get a little undeep. Christmas is coming.
Good.
What's one of your favorite childhood gifts that you got when you were a kid?
Yeah, it was the PlayStation.
PlayStation?
Yeah, it was the PlayStation 2. And I actually remember this because I actually didn't think I was gonna get it. Like, and I think it was that year. I got so much stuff, like I can't even lie. Like, trust me, I don't come from like some rich like dynasty family or anything. But like my mother, like she got me some stuff. Like I'm not even gonna lie. Like I got like a good amount of gifts. I kind of stopped when I was like 12. But I can't be one of those kids that be like, oh yeah, I woke up and it's a coal and a sock. Like I can't say that was my life.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always that one thing every single year up till I was like 12, where she pretty much said, you don't need anything else anymore. But I always got that one thing that I swear I didn't think I was gonna get. And there was actually a video of it. I don't know. I think I need to get up with her after she still has that video. I think they have a video of it, of me opening it, and I was just like, I just couldn't believe it. That was the first.
That's so cute.
Yeah. So I think that was the best gift, because I honestly think it was like a 99% chance that thing was not going to be in that box. So I mean, yeah, it was, and I think it was a surprise. I think it was a surprise because usually how it used to work back then, we had the gifts and then we would bring them all to my aunt's house, and I think that gift was already there.
Oh wow.
So we didn't. Yeah. So I didn't. I think maybe I'm like embellishing the story to make it like more. But I don't know. I don't know. I think that's how it was. But yeah, that was the best gift.
How old were you when you stopped believing in Santa?
I never believed in Santa.
You never believed in Santa? Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I was a weird kid. I never believed in Santa. I watched Family Guy when I was like 10 or like 9.
Oh,
Yeah, I was a weird kid.
So you didn't believe in like the Easter Bunny or any of those like childhood stuff?
I mean, I didn't believe in it. I participated in it, if that makes sense.
That's very interesting. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Like, I knew it was fake, but you said you're gonna get undeep, and here I go again. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? So when I say I participated in it, we all believe in the book.
Yeah.
It depends on what you mean by believe, but I believed in it. I kind of didn't. I participated in the game of believing in Santa Claus and believing in the Tooth Fairy, because I seen the effect of what it did to other kids, and what it did as a collective to other people in the world. And I'm not trying to aggrandize myself here, but I mean, I was just always really, really conscious as a kid and just forever. And that's not good, because when you overthink things, there are some things that are like, for instance, I don't know how to change a tire. I don't know how to like wipe down a window properly. Like, there's some basic things that I'm not good at. So when you overthink things, little things are completely, I just have no shot. So that's not good to be like, oh yeah, I'm like just deep person, because some little concepts I don't understand. And my friends make this conscious of me all the time. They're like with my friends, like, we don't talk about this kind of stuff. We're talking about like, Allen Iverson and like the fucking games and stuff. And here I go talking about World War II. And they're like, Kyle, can you like shut up? Like, we're just trying to So it's good to have friends. If your friends don't tell you like to shut up or they're not mean to you, those are not friends. Those are like sycophants. But that's a different conversation. But anyway, I participated in the belief of all this stuff because I seen what it did. I seen the bigger picture. Like I understood as a kid. Like it's like, okay, well, if I act like I don't believe in Santa Claus, like, well, how's that gonna affect my sister, or how's that gonna affect my mother that's telling me that, oh, well, Santa Claus is gonna do this and that? Like, how's that gonna affect? Is it gonna be to my advantage or my disadvantage? Am I gonna be
Yeah.
that one kid that's just like, am I gonna be the Scrooge? Am I gonna be Ebenezer Scrooge and just be like, oh,
Yeah.
this is all fake and this is dumb, this is stupid? I'm just gonna be a cynical person and just not and miss the point. Like the point
Yeah.
isn't to actually believe in like this dude is like coming down the chimney and like giving you gifts. The point in the believing the tooth fairy is not to literally believe in this woman putting something under your pillow. That's not the point. I understood the point was the abstraction from that. So when it starts is something is Santa Claus. It starts as this is this jolly figure that wants you to be happy around this time and is giving you gifts. And you know, there's certain thing that people, oh, this is a pagan holiday. This is nothing but the devil. There's certain people that are just. I had this friend, and I befriended him now. Like he was just so cynical towards holidays. He was just like, oh, all these idiots are like for Halloween. He was like, oh, look at these idiots and dressing up for on their costume. This is satanic. And like this guy was like, oh, this Christmas is Santa really means Satan. Like he's just so cynical. He's just missing the point. And it's just so unsophisticated when someone does that because it's like
Yeah.
easy skepticism is so cheap. Like
Yeah.
it's so shallow. It's unearned wisdom. Like you just get to sit there and
Oh
just be
God.
skeptical about everything and be cynical.
Oh.
Oh, did you know that Kyrie Irving really sold his soul? Like, oh, do you know that this guy, this successful person, really did this? Like, you're missing the point. The point isn't to really believe in a Santa Claus. The point isn't to believe in these figures of the tooth fairy, the boogeyman, or anything. These are things as kids, but we can't understand the concept of what Christmas is really about. Like we can't. Some kids, I mean, other households. You know, my family's deeply religious, and you know, I guess I'm religious as well. Like we're not going to understand what Christmas is really about. So we have to shrink down things at a smaller level so we can understand. That's how we operate. This is something that I also learned from Jordan Peterson that he learned from the developmental psychologist John Piaget. I have his book, The Morality of the Child. I'm gonna start reading that soon, but I've only watched lectures about it. Like children don't understand. Like if you go up to a kid and you say, "Kid, you be a good person." Like if you tell that to a kid, they're not gonna understand what you're saying. Like you're gonna be like, okay. Like
Yeah.
you can't go to a 4-year-old and be like, you need to appreciate life a little bit more. Like they're gonna hear you, they're gonna shake their
Mm-hmm.
head like, okay, but they're not gonna understand, they're not gonna grasp that. What you have to do is you have to you could that's the abstract, that's like the meta narrative. Like Christmas is about, I mean, it's really about Christ. Like, that's what Christmas is about. But kids don't understand that. So you have to shrink it down. You can't go up to a kid and be like, "Oh, be a good person." What you have to do is like you have to you have to give them little tidbits. I forgot the actual technical term for this, but you have to tell this kid, "Okay, you see that old lady? That's about to open that door. Go open that door for her." That's what you have to understand at first. And the little kid's gonna be excited and they're gonna run over there, open the door. Then the little old lady's gonna be like, "Oh, thanks, Sonny." And he's gonna see her smile. That's an indication. That's gonna trigger the dopamine in his head. Oh, she's smiling now. She's happy. And that's gonna encourage him to do that again. That's what the kid has to. That's what the kid has to grasp at first.
Mm-hmm.
Is to one small act of kindness. That's what kids have to understand at first. You have to dumb down things for people to understand them at first.
Mm-hmm.
So what Santa Claus and what the Tooth Fairy and what all these and what Batman, what Superman is about, all these archetype figures that we create. This is about the bigger pictures, but we can't get the bigger grasp at first. We can't get that, you know, around this time. This is about giving gifts to other people and being thankful. We can't the kids don't understand that at first. We have to shrink
Yeah.
it down. We have to say, okay, what you have to do is you have to be a good little boy. And then Santa on December 25th is going to give you these gifts. That's what you have to understand. You have to understand,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so what is that kid going to do? So when the parent says, okay, go clean your room, and it's December 20th, what's the kid going to do? They're going to go clean that damn room. If you say, okay, well, here, if they're in school and they know what's around this Christmas time, what are they going to do? They're going to do what? They're going to probably act better because they know what's in the back of their head, or Santa's going to give me what? Cold,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Or cool.
That's what they have to understand at first. It's a morality. It's a stupid morality for kids to understand. That's what they have to get at first. And once they start to become older and they shred that, because they understand, okay, well, maybe Santa Claus isn't really real. Maybe the tooth fairy wasn't really real. But that's the same thing about the tooth fairy. Is the tooth fairy gonna come like get if you have like this like big ass like this swollen teeth or like what's gonna happen? You're gonna be like that's not gonna. You have to understand how. I'm not really sure how that one breaks down, but I'll stick with Santa for now. But to understand that the whole entire point here is to understand that the point is about it's about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Because kids can't understand the bigger picture yet. You have to shrink it down.
Yeah.
And for some reason, and this is something that everybody knows. You already knew this as a kid. Like you knew that Santa Claus wasn't real. Like you knew that. I'm not sure if you know that you knew that, but you knew that you knew that you didn't know that.
Yeah.
I hope that made sense.
It did. It
You
did.
knew that Santa Claus didn't really exist. You participated in the game of believing that Santa Claus existed because you seen the bigger picture as a kid, but you just weren't conscious of it. And that's
Yeah.
what Immanuel Kant said. That's what philosophy is. That's what it all is. It's just about making things that we all know and just making them turning the light on and saying, "Oh shit!" Like, "Oh, that's how it works." That's what all this is about. So when people are so cynical about Halloween and they're so cynical, like what, like I can't understand why someone would want to take away something like Halloween from. Halloween isn't for you and me. That's not. This isn't for you and I. It's for kids to act out their idols. It's to act out
Yeah.
their ideals. It's for them to get that out. That's what it's for. It's for them to act
Yeah.
out. I want to be Superman today. Or I want to be Batman. They're acting out something that they have an ideal towards, and that's what they're doing. And what are they getting in return from that? They're getting candy. They're getting attention. They're getting smiling faces. It's something that they have to act that out, and that's something that they conceal 24/7, sitting in a desk like this all day in school. That's something that they hold back all day for like how long are kids in school? Like 10 hours.
Yeah.
That's something that they hold back all damn day. And on this one day, on October 31st, they let all that out. Like it's all about play. This is what it's for. And you have your family there too, so you actually feel. And it's not about like that kid knows he's not Batman when he puts on that costume. Like I don't know what you were. Like you knew you weren't a princess when you dressed up.
Yeah.
You knew you weren't a princess. Like you knew that. But it's not about that. It's about the bigger picture. And I
Yeah.
think I think that's something that a lot of people don't. Either they don't understand it, or they do, or they don't care, or they just have a really, I don't know, like a shallow understanding of it. I can't remember
Hmm.
what the question was, to be honest. But
When you stop believing in Santa.
yeah. But so
I
someone
like that though.
asks you that,
I love that little
tell
rabbit
them that
hole.
you participated in the game of believing Santa. Tell them that when someone asks you that, and they'll be like, "What?" It'll be really funny to see their reaction.
I am gonna say that. I am gonna say that. Okay, so where can we like you, stalk you, follow you, all that fun stuff?
I don't know about the second one, but you guys can follow me on Kendricks, KHENDRIIX with two eyes on all
Um,
social media platforms. I think.
you don't have a Facebook, right?
No, I don't. I shouldn't. I should make one.
Mm.
I don't have
Well,
a.
I
I
got rid
don't
of
have
my
a
Twitter.
meta. I don't have a meta.
I got rid of my Twitter.
Oh, you
It
did?
just became too much. Yeah, it
Oh
just
yeah.
became too
I
much.
don't blame you at all.
But I feel like I should go back on it. I don't know.
There might be
Probably
some.
not. I'm
There
too
might be.
busy. I'm
There
too
might be
busy.
something there.
It might be. I don't know. I'll think about it the new year. All right, last question. Um, I'm probably misquoting this. Um, But I'm sure you've heard of the trolley paradox, where there's a
No.
train. Yes, yes. There's a train, and on the left is a million people, and on the right is mother and child. Who are you saving?
Oh, I've definitely seen this. I've seen variations of what you're talking about. Who am I
Hmm.
saving? Mother and child, or are they my mother? Like, or am I related? I'm not related to anyone.
You're not related to anyone. It's a
Really?
thousand people or a mother and child.
Hmm. Who am I saving?
Hmm.
Hmm. I think I have to save the mother and child.
Why?
Not sure. Something just telling me to save them.
There's what's I'm probably gonna misquote this. It's from Stalin, where he says that
Oh, the good guy.
yeah, yeah, I was a good guy. He said that I'm definitely paraphrasing this,
He would say,
but
how do I kill them both at the same time?"
I was about to say that, yeah. He said the death of the death of basically, long story short, he was saying how the
He
death
said
of
that
one
the
person
death
is
of
more
one man is
important.
tragedy. The death of 1,000 is a statistic. That's what he said.
Yes, yes, yes. Could you mind elaborating on that?
That's wild because I literally just watched a documentary of Joseph Stalin the other day.
Oh, word.
Yeah, that man. That I think that man was probably the second most evil person that who has ever existed ever. Like that
Who's
guy was a
first? Oh, don't answer it. That was a stupid question. That was a stupid question. We all know who's first.
Well, who's first? Who's first?
Hitler, right?
No, way
No.
off.
Who's first?
What ended with this? The worst person, the most evil, pernicious, disgusting person who's ever existed, in my opinion, his name is Marcus de Sade. And I will type it for everyone. And I'm gonna leave with this. His name is Marcus de Sade. I'm not gonna tell you anything about this guy. You go look up I shouldn't even laugh right now. You should look up who this guy was and what he did. By far the most I haven't I know I know a lot about the Soviet Union. I know a lot about Nazi Germany. Nothing compares to what this guy has done. Nothing.
But let's go back to relating
Stalin, yeah, 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 yeah.
the trolley dilemma and what Stalin said about statistics.
Yeah. What was the question?
Um, why is the
Oh,
death of
why did
many?
he? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well, that's the thing, because Stalin was really possessed by power, and that was the main drive that really drove the Soviet Union and drove Nazi Germany and drove fascist Italy. They were all just possessed by power. So
yeah.
the bigger they can make their impact was just like power was not a bug; it was the feature. Like, oh look, we just killed 1,000 people. That'll show them. That'll show them. Like
Hmm.
that was the ideology. The man portrayed his best friend. I believe his name was Melanov. He betrayed his best friend and got him assassinated, just so he can replace him and move up the ranking in the Soviet Union. He betrayed his best friend, and this is something else that a lot of people don't know about Stalin. This man was 5'6". This man was 5 feet and 6 inches. This man was short as hell.
Yeah.
I'm tall. I'm 5'9". I'm taller than Joseph Stalin. How tall are you?
Five.
Yeah,
He was my height.
you and him are like eye level.
Yeah,
This
and
man
you're
was
never intimidated by someone who's your height.
incredibly short and incredibly insecure with himself.
Hmm.
Yeah, that guy. So. What type of things do you think are marinating in the back of this man's head? Like this guy was a cruel person. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that a man like that who would what he would say, oh well, 1,000 people is a statistic. Like he didn't care. when he was going through the Red Terror, when his army guards were killing everyone that disagreed with him, when he had lists, when he was signing death warrants of people who would kill, people who would be sent to the gulag, you know what he would write? He would write tips next to each other person's name. He would say whore, oh, slut. He would say this person deserved it, idiot,
Oh, wow.
bastard. This guy was a complete psychopath.
Yeah.
His son, for people that many people don't know this, his son shot himself in front of Stalin. He showed Stalin that he was going to get married, and he showed his wife. He was like, "Hey, Dad, this is my wife," and he just didn't approve of it, and he shot himself. But he didn't die. He shot himself.
Yeah.
Fell on the floor. His second wife runs over there, helps him, cleans up his son. This man Joseph Stalin looked at his son on the ground, and he said, "You couldn't even do this right," and he walked
Wow.
away. He walked away. Evil person. Despicable person, but he's not worse than he's not. And keep in mind, you maybe this is just me. Everything I just told you, nothing compared to what this name I wrote down did. Don't forget that name. Nothing compared to what this guy did. Yeah, so man, people have been there are some crazy people out there and throughout history.
But don't you think you have to be a little crazy to be a leader?
Oh, of course. Well, not crazy. You just have to have an enormous sense that that enormous confidence, an
Yeah.
enormous ego. Like you have to deify yourself before you even like people look up to Joe Biden as like as a god, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have to deify the man in charge. Like Hitler thought he was Christ. He literally said, "Quote." He wrote this in Mein Kampf. I need to get that book. He wrote that he was going to carry out what Christ couldn't do. He was going to exterminate the Jews. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, these people, they believe they were gods. My phone's about to die, so I want you to.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Okay.
But go look up who the
I
name
am.
I wrote down.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, homie.
Yeah, I love talking to you. I actually hope you have a really great Christmas. I like your hat.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later, man.
See ya.